Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Fuller Kamara. Today we're in chapter 27, creating and using recurring transactions. Recurring transactions in QuickBooks Online can be set up to manage any transactions in any workflow, such as the sales receipt, invoices, bills, journal entries, checks, deposit, or expenses. Recurring transactions can be set up to occur on a scheduled or unscheduled basis. Or we can also set up the recurring transaction as a reminder only. Once the client has set up the parameters in QuickBooks Online will automate the process. Recurring transactions can be used to record both money out transactions and money in transactions. For example, the clients who offer fixed price services can set up recurring transactions to automatically send invoices or sales receipts to their customers. You can set up recurring transactions to record bills, non-posting charges, that is the delay charges, checks, non-posting credit, that is the delay credit. We can also use recurring transactions for credit card credit memos, deposit estimate, expenses, invoices, journal entries, refunds, sales receipts, transfers, vendor credit, and purchase orders. As an accountant, you can set up recurring transactions to reclassify deferred revenue or prepaid expenses. However, recurring transactions can be used to record recurring bills payment, customer payment, time activity, pay down credit card type transactions, or inventory adjustment. Now let's look at the benefits of using recurring transactions. So the benefits include automating money transactions that are paid out on a regular basis and fixed amount. Then also we can automate invoicing customers for regular services provided at fixed price, setting up invoices to include unbilled charges, and automatically send emails. We can also use recurring transactions the benefits also include recording non-posting transactions such as purchase orders or estimates. That is, we set in the reminders. Then using recurring sales receipts with QuickBooks payment as well. We can also use the recurring transactions to use sales receipt. We can also use recurring transactions for sales receipt with QuickBooks payment. Clients should review their recurring transactions to avoid sending out automated invoices for cancel or delay work. The customer wouldn't like it to receive invoices when they actually did not owe a balance to the client. So that's the reason why we should be careful in that end. Also note that a customer, vendor, employee, product, or service or account can't be deleted if they are being used on a recurring transaction. Okay, then also now let's look at the types of templates that we have. So to access the recurring transaction, first let's go to the gear icon and then select recurring transaction. So first let's click new in order for us to create a recurring transaction. So here we can run report. You can see the reminder list. This is the so if you click on the reminder list, you should see all the reminders that we have. Then let's go back. So here we have the option to filter, right? We can filter for just the reminders. If we want to see just the reminder, we click apply, so that will show us the reminders. If also we want to see just the unscheduled, we can see only the unscheduled. Currently we don't have any unscheduled. Then the schedule, we click apply, we can see all the scheduled transactions. So now let's click new to create a new recurring transaction. So if we click new, in this case our recurring transaction, we are able to create recurring transactions for both invoices, estimate, expenses, journal entry, refunds, sales receipts, transfers, and vendor credit. So in this case, since the process is almost the same for all these types of recurring transactions. The process is very similar. So we're going to use only few of the examples. So in this case, we're going to create a recurring transaction for invoice. Okay. Once we select the transaction type, then we click OK. We also have the option to create a recurring transaction when we are creating the transactions. So this is the recurring transaction page. So let's close out of this. We can also create a recurring transaction by clicking the plus new and then go to the invoice. So now when we are creating this invoice, we can say make recurring transaction. Okay, so now it is QuickBooks Online is going to make this a recurring transaction. Okay, so the template, we can give this, we can say test invoice, but you can give the template any name of your choice. Okay, then we have the transaction type, the template type, whether we want to make this a recurring schedule and reminder or on schedule. So when we say a schedule, recurring transaction, these are for transactions with the same detail that occur on a regular basis. So everything is the same. So nothing has changed on a monthly basis. For example, you are paying the insurance. Let's say you have a rental insurance, which you are paying maybe $20 per month on the first of every month. So if that is what you pay, you can set up a recurring transaction for that fixed amount because you know the amount won't change. The date is the same on the first day of every month, and the amount, and the transaction description is still the same. So with schedule template, clients can instruct QuickBooks to create the transaction the transaction a specified number of days in advance of the due date. So for example, we can actually, if we say we select schedule, then we can create the number of days in advance. Maybe we can say create this invoice 5 days in advance. Okay, then also we can select the customer. Let's say in this case Cool Cars. Then you can see the email populated automatically. Then we also have the option to automatically send email. If we want the QuickBooks Online to send an email automatically to the client, then we can check this off. Then if we can also include a BCC, that is, if we want the QuickBooks Online to copy us, we can add our email here. That is, when QuickBooks Online generates the invoice, it will send the email automatically to the client, and then we'll receive a copy of the email that was sent to the client. That is, if we select the BCC or CC. The BCC means blind carbon copy or the blind copy. So the blind copy meaning the client won't see the individual that was copied on this email. Whereas for the CC, meaning the client will see, or whoever is receiving the email will see who is the other person that received the email. So now the interval, how many times would we like this invoice to be generated? Is it on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, or yearly? So in this case, we can just say on a monthly basis. So for the on-schedule template, these are for transactions where the details are the same, okay, but don't occur on a schedule basis. So all the details are the same, but it's just that it fluctuates. Sometimes it occurs on the 15th, sometimes it occurs on the 1st. So for example, purchase order for repeat orders that are made at a varying interval. The client can use the on-schedule template for the sales Z-tape, that is the template based on sales receipt. Then we also have pre-populated detail estimate, that is the template is based on estimate, and then the complex monthly journal entries, wherein the template is based on a journal entry. So sometimes we can also use for other things as well. So when we use the journal entries, sometimes we can set the QuickBooks Online to book an entry for depreciation, for example. So we say every month book X amount of depreciation. On the 31st of every month, we say maybe we've calculated the depreciation, that is the cost minus the residual value or the scrap, and then we divide by the useful economic lives. Then once we get a depreciation charge, then we can tell QuickBooks Online to debit the depreciation expense and credit the accumulated depreciation. We can tell QuickBooks Online to book these recurring entries every month, maybe at the end of every month, maybe we can say on the 31st. So that's what we're saying. We also have the template for reminders. These are used when the client doesn't want QuickBooks Online. So you see, we have reminders and on schedule. I've explained the on schedule. So now if we say reminders, we can see that these are used when the client doesn't want QuickBooks Online to process the transactions automatically. For example, the invoice that are regularly sent to a customer, but the details can change, from period to period, So that's the reason why we can set this kind of situation as a reminder, so that the reminder will pop up in the dashboard. Okay, so those are the kind of transaction we use reminder. So now once we've added all this detail, we can see the day. Okay, we have the option to select the day, or we can say the first Monday of every month, or of every week. We can say every month or every week, so we have that option. Or we can say the first day of every month. Okay, so we have that option as well. Let's say the last of every day of the week, we can do that as well. Then let's select the day in this case. So we say the first of every month. Okay, we have the option to say the second of every month, up to the last, or the 28th. So we can say in this case the first of every month. So this is in month. So if we say 2, that is 2 months. If we say 3, that is 3 months. So now we say the start date. When are we gonna start booking this entry? So if we just creating the template today, maybe we want to start booking the entry on the month of October. So on the 1st of October, then the first transaction will be recorded. So if we are selected on the second, meaning we can also select here when we want this transaction to be recorded. So we can say the second. Mind you, the template will be created, or the transaction will be created 5 days in advance, okay, of this start date. So if we have the first, meaning maybe on the 25th of the previous month, the transaction will be recorded in that case, or will be created. So that's the reason why we put those days in advance. Then we can put the end. Maybe we can say indefinitely, or that is if we say none, meaning it will continue indefinitely. But if we say by, to end by, we'll put the date. Let's say maybe this is a transaction for just 2-month project. Let's say we want this to end by December or November. Okay, we can say end by November 30. So that's the end. Now the term is net 30. Then the billing address automatically populate. So now we can put in the product. Let's say fountain, right? The fountain pump. Then we also have the rate at 15. Let's say we have 20. The client will buy 20 every month. So we'll be billing the client for 20 every month. So we're expecting 300. So now once we finish, we save, right? We can also add a message here. The message will say, thank you for your business and have a great day. We can customize this message if we like. Then also, we can also add a message on the statement. Okay. Then we can attach any supporting document that we want to attach to this invoice. So once we finish, we click save. So now we've saved the template. Okay. So now after we've saved the template, you can see now this is the template that we've just created. So now if we want to create an invoice from this template, we can just select the down arrow from the action. We say use. So now, meaning if we just want to create an invoice using this template, we don't want to like mess with it. We just want to like use it for this, because this is, let's say we are dealing with the same customer, or we want to use similar information information for a different customer, we can still use this template and create the invoice for that. Okay, so once we also have the option to duplicate this. So if we click duplicate, then QuickBooks Online will create a copy of this template. Mind you, you have to change you see the name here says test copy. So you can customize. Let's say you want to create this same invoice for another different customer. You can do that by creating this copy. Then once you finish, you click save. Okay, so now you can see we have the original, which is this, and the copy. So you can also click edit to edit this template. So let's say we want to change this name. So now invoice 2. Then we click save. Then after that, we also have the option you can see here. We can pause this recurring transaction. We can skip the next date. Let's say we don't want this template to run for the month of October. We can just say pause. So if we say pause, meaning this recurring transaction, you can see the next date is paused. Then we can change this also. We can say resume. Then it will resume, meaning it will start on the on the 2nd October. Then we also have the option to delete. Let's say we want to delete, we can click delete. So now we've deleted that template. Okay, then you can see if we want to show up to 300 rows, we can do that. Or if we just want to show few, we can show only the 50 rows. That is, if we have like a lot of templates, we can do that customization. We also have the option to filter. Let's say we are just looking for reminders. We click apply. You can see only the reminders. Then if we want to change that, the type, for maybe we want to be specific, we just want to get the reminders relating to invoices. You see, this is what we only have here. So that's how you filter. Okay, then you can also clear the filters so you can see all the templates that you have. If we can also print, okay, we have the option to print, right? This list. Then we cancel because we're not gonna print anyway. So we click cancel. Recurring transactions are similar to bank rules. However, it is sometimes better to use bank rules for recurring transactions that vary in amount and date. So if we know the amount and date is gonna change, then we need to use bank rules instead of recurring transaction. Then now let's look at the requirement. When do we use bank rule and when do we use recurring transaction? If the transaction details are the same, that is the date, the description, and the amount are the same, we use recurring transaction using the schedule template. But if the same transaction, the same detail, but the date is different, we can use a recurring transaction still, but it is unscheduled because the date is not the same. So we use unscheduled template. That is this template. Let me click edit so you can see the template. So if for some reason all the information is the same, it's just that the date is not the same. So instead of the 1st of every month, we can use unscheduled. That is, so for the unscheduled, it doesn't have to happen on the same date. Okay, as you can see, for the schedule, you can see when the transaction will occur. But for unscheduled, you see the frequency is not there, and when the transaction will occur is not there. So that's what we use if we know the transaction will change. I mean, if we know the date will change, then also if we know the transaction will change and the details will also change, but the date is the same, we use the bank rule. Okay, we know the transaction will vary, but the date will be the same. We use bank rules. Then also different transactions detail and different dates, we still use the bank rules, because for the bank rules, as long as we know like key information that we've identified key details that won't change, then we'll be able to use the bank rules. But for recurring transactions, this is the disadvantage. Like if you are to use a schedule transaction, you can only use it when all the details are the same, like the transaction description, the date, the amount, meaning you can use the schedule. But if you know the transaction description is the same, the detail is the same, but the date is different, then you use unscheduled recurring transaction. Okay, so those are the differences and similarities. That's how you set up recurring transactions. That's the end of chapter 27. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like if you like the video, share. See you in the next video. Thank you.